When you say, I'm turning spiritual, you must understand, yoga is the methodology. Essentially, your effort is to move away from the ways of the body and get aligned with the another dimension of nature within us. From the surface nature of physicality, we want to get aligned with a deeper nature of inner nature. One important aspect of your physicality is your genetics. So, life repeats itself. You think you're a fresh life? Do not underestimate the dead. Your great-grandfather laughing at you, living through you. You know, someone said, leave the dead to the dead. You've forgotten? 2000 years ago, someone said, leave the dead to the dead. It's not that simple to put the dead to rest. Just because you boxed them and buried them, or you're an Indian person, you don't trust boxes and burial. You know they could find a way out, so you burn the hell out of them. Not only you burned them, you took their ashes and put it in 3 different rivers. And also in the ocean, so that they should never again rise. Indians are taking a lot of care about these things because there is a whole science as to how to make sure the dead remain dead, they don't play up. They will play up. In so many ways, they're playing up. To put them to rest, the best way to put them to rest is, there is a distance between you and your body, they're finished. Only if you identified with your body, they will play up in your life in 100 different ways. Many of you will notice this. When you're 18, 20, you thought, I'm never going to be like my mother or my father, I'm a revolution, you know. All the hippies, I'm asking you. But you're 45, suddenly you start talking like your mother or your father, you sit like that, you stand like that, you seem to amble around just like that. Slowly, they're taking charge of you from within. Everything that you resisted, you thought you were a big revolution just because you smoked pot. But 40, 50 years of age, slowly they start manifesting themselves, laughing at your revolution. Because putting the dead to the dead is not a simple thing. So can we do this? Definitely. The entire system of yoga, from the simplest process to the most sophisticated processes of yoga, essentially designed towards this, so that you become a totally fresh life. Nothing of the past should remain. We have great regard and respect for the past because they brought us this far, but we don't want them to carry them… we don't want to carry them into tomorrow. We want to leave them there. We understand they are our foundation. But we don't want them to the flower and fruit of future. We want this to be a fresh life. It will not come just because mentally you rebel. Genetically, you have to distance yourself. In India, these days it's becoming weak, but otherwise, in Indian families, it's very, very important to perform these karmas to the dead. People think this is in remembrance of their forefathers. This is not in remembrance. This is to distance yourself. Constant effort to put them away because they'll keep cropping up. Not somewhere else, right here within you. In so many ways, they keep cropping up. Putting the dead to complete rest means, in a way, you're liberated because the cycles of the past are over with you. You are a completely fresh blossoming. How long something stands or how well something functions physically is only a question of geometry. So does the geometry of a building make a difference? Absolutely. We know this for plants and animals, the atmosphere in which they live is very important. The same goes for the human being.
Sadhguru, I learned from my mentor architect that architectural interventions should not be just about minimizing ecological disturbance, but it must be instead about enhancing the very life that resides in a structure. So as an architecture student, I would like to know if design has the ability to heal and improve the quality of the life of the people occupying a structure.
See, if you look at the physical world, whether it's your body or a blade of grass or the planet or whatever, the physical universe is all about geometry, isn't it? Just to give you an example, this about 3 years ago maybe, and I'm walking through the yoga center, which is… people generally think it's very well, its architecture is unique and different. So I'm walking through for various details, looking at it. Then I see, in a place where lots of people come every day, there is a tree branch which was in a certain… this thing. So I looked at this and I said, please cut this tree branch. I did not explain to them, I just said, cut it, and I went on. Then the next day I was leaving the country and I was not there for about a month and a half. Then after 2 or 3 weeks, they wrote a very apologetic note to me, saying that, Sadhguru, you asked us to cut the tree branch, but we thought, why would Sadhguru want to cut a tree branch? When always I'm talking about, you are not going to cut anything which is not absolutely necessary. We didn't cut it, but the rain and winds came and it fell down. Fortunately, there were no people. If there were people, things would have happened, you know. We're very sorry, we don't know why you asked us to cut. See, how long something stands or how well something functions physically is only a question of geometry. I'm saying even your body, how you sit will determine how long the different parts of your body will last. How you stand, how you walk. Today, for runners and others, do you know this posture correction has become a huge science? They got machines. They got all scanning machines which will tell you if you stand like this, how your vertebra are, how your ribs are, if you do like this, where is your stomach, where is your liver, all this, because if you run the wrong way, you will damage yourself. This has come into sports in a big way now, but yoga is always about this. The whole system of yoga is about aligning your geometry with a larger cosmic geometry so that you can function with least amount of friction. If we say, there are mechanical engineers, aren't there? If you say a machine is well engineered, Essentially you're saying, its geometry is well aligned. A misaligned geometry means lots of friction, isn't it? So this goes for your body, this goes for every shape and form, everything that is functional in the universe has to be geometrically in sync, otherwise it'll cause disturbance. So does the geometry of a building make a difference? Absolutely. Especially if you're a little sensitive, it will make a huge difference. For everybody it makes a difference. Most people don't understand, don't notice anything about themselves. They only understand the consequence. They only understand, I'm not feeling good. They don't know why they're not feeling good. People don't notice that. But the very shapes and forms that you have around you has a certain impact because you are also a physical form. And how this physical form is, how this is, how that is, all this has a certain geometric impact. If you… I'm sure many of you have felt this, especially the girls probably would feel it more. If they walk into a building, oh, I don't like this, just like that. You know, it's always when men and women, husband and wife go to buy a house, the husband sees all the brochures and says, this is good, and it's priced well, it's fantastic. She walks in and says, I don't like it. Why? I don't like it, that's all. Because she doesn't feel good. That's all she knows. She doesn't know why she doesn't feel good. She doesn't know what is the shape which is causing this, but she knows this doesn't feel good. So, the shapes and forms have a significant impact on you if we paid enough attention. So you must look at this. You're from South. Well, you come from Kerala, you must look at the South Indian temples, how geometrically perfect they are. You take your laser measuring instruments today and check it, it's perfect, you know. How important that the right angles are right, in this building it's not right. And how the shapes and forms make a difference is something that they examined to the minutest possible thing when they built the ancient temples, particularly in the south. The North Indian temples are all brick temples, they're done in a certain way, it looks like they've all been put up in a hurry, you know. Now, why I'm saying this is, I think the northern belt took a lot of invasions and ancient temples were destroyed, they all put it up in a hurry. When they could, they just put it up. But in South, they took time and engineered it in a certain way, you can feel it, you don't have to believe anything, you just go and sit there, you feel a certain… that space has a certain impact on you. Our home should be built like this, our offices should be built like this. Because it's very important that… See, we know this for plants and animals and everything, the atmosphere in which they live is very important, the habitat, otherwise they won't thrive, isn't it? The same goes for the human being. If you just want to somehow live and die, you can live anywhere. But if you want to thrive really, then it's important what kind of spaces you live in. There is a whole science to this, which is generally called as agama. People think it's temple building science. It's not about temple building. It was to be built… every human habitation was to be built that way. Whole lot of people couldn't afford it for their house, they did it only for the temple because it takes more involvement and care for this. So this is the reason, this is one of the reasons why. So you must understand, only in the south this instruction is still there, in the north it's gone. In south, even today this instruction is there. If you go to the temple, you don't have to pray, you don't have to appeal to some god, you just have to sit there for some time. Have they told you? You must sit there. But what people are doing today is they're just touching their bottom to the floor and going away. That's not the idea. The space has been built with such care, you must sit there and experience this and allow your system to make use of it, because this is a geometry too. The entire system of yoga is just this, the Hatha Yoga is all about correcting your geometry constantly, that if you walk through the world, you will walk through it effortlessly. If your geometry is not right, then you will see every point you will get tangled up. So, architecture in India is right now, except a few, the new architecture that's been done, unfortunately we have a serious mental enslavement. Whatever is done in the Western countries, we're doing it not considering our weather, the temperatures and everything simply. Even our clothing is like that, largely. If you go out of IIT, probably most of you will be wearing a suit, a jacket and a noose around your neck in 40 degrees temperature. How to wear a jacket? I was meeting some important CEOs and I told them, see, in your board meetings, it's compulsory in a lot of companies, they must be jacketed and tied up. I said, a CEO means people expect he will do the most sensible things. Now we must understand, a large company means people have handed over their own money, their savings, their hard-earned savings to somebody and expect this guy to do the most sensible thing. But this guy wears thick jacket and a tie in 40 degrees temperature. I don't expect this guy to do sensible things. So, architecture is not just about the buildings, the very ways we sit and stand, the furniture, even our clothing is architecture in a way, all right? We may call it by different names, we may call it design, fashion, but it's essentially about shapes and forms. It's very, very important. It's time we bring it because last 50 years or so, since 1950, since this IIT, we've been in a survival mode, desperately trying to somehow make our people survive in this country. Now we have come to a reasonable levels of well-being. Though it's not touch every human being, at least large segments have come to reasonable things. This is the time that we need to look at more sophisticated way of existence. And it's not always expensive, it is not. We can create something very wonderful. You must come and see, we've created buildings. See right now I'm telling you the simplest thing. Right now this is a flat roof, I don't know what is this roof outside? A-frame, is it? It's A-frame. So right now, between the roof and the gravity, there is a fight. Going on or no? You may not see the fight, but it's happening. There is tension here. And one day, someday, who do you think will win? The structure or the gravity? Gravity will win. So we created structures which are standing up not because of the strength of the material, but simply because of the perfection of geometry. So it's the gravity which is holding it up, not gravity pulling it down. You must come and see these buildings, they're unique and fantastic. The one thing I'm very proud of that we created. The building is designed to last for at least a minimum of 3,000 to 5,000 years. Because there is no material, they're deteriorating. There's no steel, there is no cement, there's no concrete. It's just burnt brick. See, even if you go to Mohenjo-daro or Harappa or whatever the most ancient civilization, what is it that you find? Burnt clay is the only thing that survived. It's burnt brick and just lime which is holding the thing up. It's not the strength of the material, it's the perfection of geometry. Unless it's seismologically sensitive area, so we put it on sand beds. So it takes small shocks. Suppose a very major earthquake which opened up the land happened, only then it'll come down, otherwise it'll not come down.
நமஸ்காரம் சார், வணக்கம். ஸோ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஆஃப் ஆல் இந்த வாய்ப்பு கொடுத்ததுக்கு ரொம்ப ரொம்ப நன்றி. When we think about Kaveri calling, Kaveri generally as a name is extremely sensitive. பொதுவாகவே ஒரு சென்சிட்டிவான ஒரு டாபிக்னால I think sometimes from what I gather, there is a bit of a resistance towards the movement of Kaveri calling. Do you feel that way?
No. Okay. எங்கே ரெசிஸ்டன்ஸ்? தமிழ்நாட்டில் விவசாயி எல்லாமே 100% நம்ம கூட இருக்கிறாங்க. என்னதுக்குன்னா இது அவருக்கு ரொம்ப நல்லது. இப்போ கவர்மெண்ட்லேருந்து நாம் சப்சிடி இப்போது ப்ராமிஸ் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. அது மட்டும் இல்லை, நேற்று நான் என்வாயன்மெண்ட் மினிஸ்டர் கூட லாங் மீட்டிங் ஆக அவர் 100% எது வேணாலும் வளர்த்த முடியும், கட் பண்ண முடியும், சேல் பண்ணிக்க முடியும். இந்த ஒரு ஒரு அடிப்படையான ஒரு ரைட்ஸ் ஃபார்மர்ஸுக்கு கட்டாயமாக கொடுக்குறோன்னு ப்ராமிஸ் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. யுனைடெட் நேஷன்ஸில் நேற்று இந்த COP14 ஐ பார்ட்டிசிபேட் பண்ணேன். யூஎன்ல வேறு வேறு விதமான ஆர்கனைசேஷன்ஸ் இருக்குது. அதில் எல்லாருமே இந்த லீடர்ஸ் ஆஃப் ஆல் தோஸ் ஆர்கனைசேஷன்ஸ் எல்லாருமே காவேரி காலிங் தேர் ஃபாலோயிங். They think this is the most important project right now happening in the world. That's all. That's how they think. இப்படி இருக்கிறப்போ ரெசிஸ்டன்ஸ் எங்கே இருக்கு? ரெசிஸ்டன்ஸ் எங்கேயோ பார்க்கலையே. ஒரு இவ்வளோ கூட ரெசிஸ்டன்ஸ்.
The second thing I want to ask you, sir, is இப்போ வந்து நினச்சிட்டு இருக்காங்க காவேரி காலிங்னா வந்து அவங்க ஒரு மணி மேக்கிங் ராக்கெட்டு ஒரு டொனேஷனுக்காக கேட்குறாங்க. ஸோ ஃப்ரம் வாட் ஐ அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் உங்கள் விதத்தில் வந்து டூ டிஃப்ரெண்ட் ஃபவுண்டேஷன்ஸ், am I right?
ஃபண்ட் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட்டுக்கு ரொம்ப நாட்டில் ரொம்ப மரியாதைக்குரிய மக்கள் ஒரு 8 பேர் சேர்த்து நான் வச்சிருவேன். இதில் ISRO சேர்மன் இருக்கிறாங்க, வேர்ல்டு வைல்ட் லைஃப் ஃபண்டு CEO இருக்கிறாங்க, பயோகான் இண்டஸ்ட்ரீஸ் கிரண் மஜும்தார் இருக்கிறாங்க, சுப்ரீம் கோர்ட் ஜட்ஜ் இருக்கிறாங்க, இப்படி CII சேர்பர்சன் இருக்கிறாங்க. இவர் மேல சந்தேகம் உங்களுக்கு வந்துடுச்சுன்னா நீங்க யாரை நம்புறீங்க? உங்க பிரச்சனை உலகத்துல இல்லை, உங்க மனத்துல தான் இருக்குது. இது போர்டு இருக்குது, ஃபவுண்டேஷன் என்ன இருக்குது? ஃபவுண்டேஷனுக்கு பல விதமான there are many accreditations which foundation has earned because இப்போ UNCCD யுனைடெட் நேஷன்ஸ்லேருந்து நமக்கு அக்ரெடிஷன் இருக்குது. அதெல்லாம் இல்லைன்னா நீங்கள் மேனேஜ் பண்ண முடியாது. பட் அக்கௌண்ட் வில் பி மேனேஜ், த ஃபண்ட் வில் பி மேனேஜ் பை த போர்ட். ஃபவுண்டேஷன் மே பி த பேசிஸ். ஃபவுண்டேஷன் ஈஷா ஃபவுண்டேஷன் இருக்குது, ஈஷா அவுட்ரீச் இருக்குது. ஆனால் இந்த அக்கௌண்ட்டு காவேரி காலிங் ஒரு தனி அக்கௌண்ட் பண்ணி இந்த போர்டு மேனேஜ் பண்ணுறாங்க. 100% இதுக்கு ஆடிட் இருக்குது. இன்டர்நேஷ்னல் ரெப்யூட்டட் ஆடிட்டிங் ஃபார்மை அப்போவே ஃபிக்ஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கிறாங்க. இதுக்கு மேலே சந்தேகம்னா உங்களுக்கு பிரச்சனை உங்கள் மூளையில் இருக்குது, இது வெளியே இல்லை.
இந்த கேள்வியில வந்து சார் நான் வந்து பொதுவா நம்ம மக்கள் சார்பாக தான் கேட்டிருக்கேன். ஸோ தட் they get a clarity.
உங்க மனத்துல இருந்தாலும் கேட்டு கேள்வியில் என்ன தப்பு இருக்குது?
ஸோ ஒன் மோர் டவுட் சார். இப்போ என்னன்னா வந்து பல பேர் வந்தாங்க, இப்போ நெக்ஸ்ட் ஸ்டெப் வந்து நம்ம எப்படி ஹெல்ப் பண்ணலாம்? ஸோ ஒரு விதம் வந்து இஸ் டு டைரக்ட்லி கெட் இன் டு த ஃபண்ட், கரெக்டாக டைரெக்டாக நம்ம வந்து டொனேஷன் பண்ணலாம். இல்லாட்டி வாட் இஸ் அதர் ஆப்ஷன் சார்?
இல்லை, நமக்கு இவ்வளோ புரியணும். இதில் 3 தன்மை இருக்கு. இதில் விவசாயி ஈடுபடுவான், எனக்குன்னா சப்சிடி இருக்குது, ப்ளஸ் ஃபெல்லிங் ரைட்ஸ் எல்லாம் கொண்டு வந்திருக்கிறோம். இப்போ இது ரொம்ப அவனுடைய பொருளாதாரத்தில் ரொம்ப முன்னேற்றம் வந்துடுவது. இப்போ நான் இங்கே போக நாம் அதெல்லாம் சில ஃபார்ம்ஸ் எல்லாம் ரெக்கார்ட் பண்ணி போடுவோம், அதெல்லாம் நீங்கள் பாருங்கள். இன்னொன்று, இதில் அரசாங்கம் ரொம்ப முக்கியம். அரசாங்கம் முழுமையாக வர்றதுக்கு தயாராக இருக்கிறாங்க. அவருக்கு செலவு இருக்குது கொஞ்சம் அரசாங்கத்துக்கு, ஆனால் வர்றதுக்கு தயாராக இருக்கிறாங்க. இப்போது மக்கள் நின்று செய்யணும் தானே ஏதோ ஒன்று. என்ன நான் சொல்கிறது மக்களுக்கு, இல்லை நீங்கள் 42 ரூபாய் கொடுங்க, இல்லை நீங்கள் மினிமம் ஒரு 10,000 சாப்ளிங்ஸ் நீங்கள் ரைஸ் பண்ணுறீங்கன்னா நாம் வந்து உங்களுக்கு ட்ரைனிங் கொடுக்குறோம். நீங்கள் உங்கள் வீட்லேயோ உங்கள் ஜமீன்லேயோ வளர்த்து கொடுங்க, இல்லை காசு கொடுங்க, இல்லை வளர்த்து கொடுங்க, ஏதோ ஒன்று பண்ணுங்க. எது பண்ணாம சும்மா ஏதோ பேசியே இருந்தா அதுக்கு எனக்கு நேரம் இல்லை. அதுக்கெல்லாம்
ரொம்ப ரொம்ப நன்றி சார். தேங்க்யூ. நாங்கள் கண்டிப்பாக நாங்கள் எங்கள் முயற்சி பண்ணுவோம்.
முயற்சி பண்ணக்கூடாது, செய்யணும். நமஸ்காரம். We are referred to as human beings. No other creature on this planet is referred to as a being. We are human beings. That means the basic qualification is we know how to be. Unfortunately, humanity is going out trying to defy this. Well, I've been saying this in many ways. If we don't learn to do things right consciously, nature will teach it to us in a very cruel way. The most important thing in all this is population itself. Right now, what is it that is bothering us with this corona? There is the density of population which makes it jump all over the place. But nobody wants to address. Generally, leaders in the world have not addressed this because nobody wants to go against religious groups who are always against this for whatever reason. This is going on for too long. So one basic thing is population. This is really the only problem, if you ask me. That is, we are nice, but we're just too many. Now, we took death into our hands with medical sciences, vaccinations and everything. Once we take death into our hands, it's just simple sense to take birth also into our hands. Birth, we believe, is God's work. Death, we want to ensure we are responsible for it and we will handle it. Birth also should be handled with the same thing. If death is postponed, birth needs to be postponed, this is an important thing. The human footprint has become so big, so very big, that there is no room for other creatures to live. Now, this may not be scientifically correct, probably it is not, but suppose you were a virus. Suppose you were a virus and you live in other animals and animal population is going down and down. Would you not choose a new habitat? Maybe that is what the virus has done because there are not enough animals. One thing is, wild animals have dissipated in a very tragic way. Another thing is, every day other animals are being slaughtered. In a year, we are slaughtering over 70 billion animals for food. 7 billion people, killing 70 billion animals across the world. I'm sure we are not eating that much, but that's how wantonly we are living. So, if the animal hosts are disappearing, maybe the virus is mutating to live in a human being. This is not… I'm not talking science, it's just simple logic. If you were a virus, would you not do that? Definitely you would do that because if your habitat is disappearing, you would like to find new habitat, new places to survive. So, in a way, it is, but this is not a time to talk about these things. This is not a time to say, you did this, so this is what is happening to you, you deserve it. No, this is not a time for that. This is a time for sensible action. If people are infected and they're suffering, they need your compassion and attention. This is not a time to talk about all this. But long term, we must think about these things, that if we don't make room for every other creature to survive in this planet, then you will see we will not be able to survive because our life is not independent of all other creatures, particularly microorganisms. They are very much a part of our life. You can live without your relatives and friends, but you cannot live without microorganisms, they are making so many things happen. For all you know, this virus also may turn friendly over a period of time because that is how these pathogens work. They are looking for a place to live and thrive. So, their activity is going on a certain way. Is this a teaching? See, in every situation there is a teaching if we are willing to learn. If you are willing to learn, calamities will not happen. Every day, every moment, there is a teaching, there is a learning. But unfortunately, we don't learn, we wait for calamities to happen and then we want to philosophize about it. Please do not philosophize, please do not go about saying, well, we got it and we deserve it or people deserve it, those people who did this deserve that. Leave this nonsense, this will not take us anywhere. Right now, the thing is to see how not to carry the virus. The important thing is, you don't become a carrier, you don't get infected, make sure nobody else gets infected. The simple thing is distance right now, distance from everything. This is a time to be alone, this is a time to turn inward. Well, I've been trying to turn you spiritual for a long time now. It looks like it needed a virus for you. Probably there's nobody in the country who doesn't know about Ramdev, we will leave him alone. But what Acharya ji has created in this country in the form of this Patanjali brand. In a matter of just about probably 12 years or 13 years, it's become one of the biggest brands in the country, bringing a totally new dimension to India's business. Over $2 billion business, and see, he's the CEO, look at him.
CEO without salary.
So, CEO without salary, CEO without suit, without jacket and without tie. This is an exemplary model of a Desi company, an Indian company really doing well. It is something that the business community in the world, particularly in India, has to learn, that with such simplicity, but with absolute devotion towards what you're creating, what can be created is so phenomenal. In this FMCG arena where they are, as far as I know, I don't think no company in the country in a matter of 10, 12 years' time has become a $2 billion company as they have become. And they have the largest food processing industry in the world. Everybody knows these things, but what people do not know is… I had the privilege of visiting their lab, what they're creating there. They have kind of documented 72,000 medicinal plants, which has never been done before in a most scientific manner. All this, look at the simplicity, one man is shirtless, another man like this. This man is production and execution, this man is marketing. This is something that India has to learn from. I've been speaking about this, but these are exemplary models of that to run major businesses, you don't have to strangle yourself with a tie. What you're seeing here, I believe, is the future of India's business houses. I'm taking the liberty of inviting Acharya Balakrishna ji. This year it's all fixed up, but 2019, the Insight, which is a business meet, where we have had people like Ratan Tata, Narayan Murthy, K.B. Kamath and many others. Almost all the top corporate leaders have been here. Next year, he's coming here as the corporate leader.
When I first heard about you many years ago, I rolled my eyes and I muttered something about guru types. And until few months ago, when my sister gave me your book, Inner Engineering, which happens to be New York Times bestseller, it changed my perspective. Honestly, if it wasn't New York Times bestseller book, I would have not read it. What is it about the West, this West stamp that we can't do without it? I mean, there are so many books, and unless Americans don't approve of it, it just doesn't make sense. Why is that?
So, we've still not gotten out of that Firong syndrome, it has to come from there. Today, why do you think so many people are talking about yoga? The yoga they're talking about in India is largely a rebound from the American coast. They're not talking about the yoga that is here. This is the source of yoga.
That brings to me a question about our roots ingrained in yoga and spirituality. But where has it got us as a nation, as a country, as a continent?
But let's understand this very clearly. Here we always focused on individual development. Because without creating great human beings, there is no great nation, there is no great culture, there is no great world. World, nation, society, these are just words. It's just you and me. What kind of people we are, that's the kind of society, that's the kind of nation, that's the kind of world we will live in. So we always focused on individual development. In this we produce stellar human beings, absolutely fantastic human beings for thousands of years, who created a fantastic culture.
Sadhguru, these days, the common discussion which is going on is again about the refugees. They are coming in millions and millions and millions, where our own are starving.
We are trying to project our inefficiency as compassion. I don't like that. We don't know how to man our borders, but we are talking about compassion. That's not the truth. When somebody comes to the nation's door because they are violently persecuted somewhere, we should treat it differently. After all, they are human beings. But for the economic well-being, people are daily porous borders, people are going across here and there. We need to do something about it. If you just allow people and give them ration cards and identity cards simply without any accounting, this is going to be a disaster. This will lead to all kinds of problems in future. You cannot run a nation without knowing who is in this country. If you want to be really inclusive, we can make the two countries into one. Yes. We can make Bangladesh into a union territory and make it a part of this country. If you're ready for that, I think India is ready for that. If you talk about inclusiveness, that's a way to include, isn't it? Not slipping into my house from the back door and saying, include me, it's not going to work.
Okay, now we'll move to your favorite topic.
I didn't know you figured out all those things.
Okay, now we move to Shiva.
Oh.
So Shiva is what I got from reading about it and doing my practices and spending time with you. Shiva is not somebody looking, like sitting up there and looking at all of us. Shiva is a dimension. It is what they say in science, a black hole where nothingness seems to be the origin of universe. But okay, tell me that so Adi Yogi, the very first yogi, was somebody who has access to that dimension. So why is it that you are obsessed with Adi Yogi? Isn't it like making it about the container and not the contained? Sadhguru, isn't it like that?
Till now I've not said a word about him, you brought him.
No, but you've made the sculpture of Adi Yogi and you…
Yeah, it's only 1.5 years old, but you're not checking what I was doing these 36 years. Let's come to that, that's fine. See, about Adi Yogi is not an obsession, or the Adi Yogi is a plan. You talked about nothing. If you want to understand nothing, you must put a hyphen between no and thing. It's not a thing. That doesn't mean it does not exist. Now, science is talking about no things. That means non-physical dimension of existence, something that is not a thing, but still a powerful force. The source of all that exists here as physical stuff essentially comes from that which is not a thing, or no thing, or Shiva.
So my last question is, Sadhguru, that about our youth, apparently the statistics say that every 1 hour, actually less than an hour, a young person below 25 is committing suicide. Why is that?
Suicide is not a pleasant thing. You must look at what psychologically that person goes through to come to that decision. It's the most horrible part of one's life, where somewhere they feel so trapped, either by physical situations, financial situations or emotional situations, so absolutely trapped when there is no other way. This is when they take that kind of violent exit which you call as suicide. Why is this happening? You must understand, in this country, in 2017, 7,600 children below 15 years of age have committed suicide. Below 15 years of age, when they must be bursting with life and wanting to live. Below 15 years of age, if they want to commit suicide, what is it? We are somewhere driving ourselves to a certain desperation. One big cause for all this is education system. So youth means an exuberant energy. But most of the time, the problem with the youth is they don't have the necessary clarity nor balance. We are launching a campaign called Youth and Truth in the month of September. We are doing events across the country in various universities. We expect you and all your friends in the industry and in the media, please be a part of it. such a large youthful population, without necessary clarity, without competence, without balance, they could be the biggest disaster on the planet. But if we organize this well, we could be the greatest miracle in the world.
My message to all the youth who are going to participate in this, you can ask Sadhguru all kind of questions, about monthly cycles, about sex, drugs, all the scandalous questions.
This is being pitched as Youth and Truth, unplug with Sadhguru, ask whatever you want.
Ask whatever you want.
Nothing is a taboo.
If you stayed until now, if you paused your day to listen, that already sets you apart from most. Like the video, comment where you're watching from, and check the links in the description. You'll definitely find more content that continues this conversation with you. Thanks, big hug, and see you in the next video.